So Matthew, 10 years at Linfield. Did you think 10 years ago that you would go on to make so many appearances for the club?
Probably not, to be honest. I remember coming home from Rangers as a fresh-faced 19-year-old and first step into probably men's football. No, played academy football at Rangers and stepped in the reserve team there. But to come home, obviously, to sign for the biggest club in the country, the biggest club in the whole island of Ireland, was a massive thing for me. And obviously to come home and play under a manager like David Jeffrey straight away was something that really helped me because in my first year home from Rangers, I really struggled probably the transition from full time football to part time football. As I've said before, I'm not hide away from the fact that I really did struggle that first season and probably first senior appearances for the club. And as I say, senior football was probably a big adjustment for me. But a lad from Tyrone and obviously the big city of Belfast, and to stay 10 years at the biggest club in this country. I've loved every minute, and I'm very privileged, and something that I'll always be proud of, my family are proud of, and people at home are certainly proud of me representing our area at the biggest club in the land. There's no doubt about that. And as you said, to think you're here 10 years later from coming home as a 19-year-old fresh faced is unbelievable. But yeah, it's an honour to have represented this football club for 10 years.
Some great memories from over the years. Is there anything that stands out in particular?
I'm probably that treble one in season. I think just the way we went in the January. I remember Drum reported down here. One each. Josh Carson scored the equaliser, and I think we might have been at still 11 or 12 points behind at that time. And just going from that game that we drew one each here, Josh equalised late, and not to drop a point the rest of the season. And we chased a good Crusaders side down and went right to the wire. And that last day of that season will always stick with me. I remember 1-0 down at Solitude, Cruiser won, it was back in their hands, and went in at half time. And probably something the manager said that has always stuck with a lot of us, has said that if we lose this game, some of you might never recover from this. And thankfully, went out and the main man, Waterworth, got the hat trick, and the rest was history. But yeah, probably that. And then obviously the following week as well, the Irish Cup final, and again, Andy, another hat trick. And I think we were very good that day, and there was only going to be one winner. I think that's probably the best memories I've had here, and obviously the European nights here, Quarabag, and obviously the disappointment the last year, but the European run was special. I think that probably that getting the playoff round, that Europa League, being so close as a part-time team to get qualifying for the Europa League was unbelievable, and the run Quarabag four each and the go out and away goals was unreal. But probably I would say that treble one season and the day at Solitude, the last day of the season, and then the Irish Cup final next week, definitely.
You mentioned the Carback game, another special game that a night that was in Europe. Just what was it like to play
It was
in that night with
unbelievable.
the atmosphere? And
Yeah, it was unbelievable that night. I remember the stadium was packed and the crowd were really behind us that night. And I'll never forget Shane's goal. The man makes the mistake and Shane nips it off and runs through, chops your man, puts it right in the top corner with his left foot. Just the atmosphere that night was probably the best I've experienced at the club. Just the ground was packed and it was bouncing, and they were right behind us from minute one, and it was unbelievable. And couldn't beat a team like Quarabag. We were part time at the time, and they had
it,
superstars playing for them. It was
is
unbelievable.
it something that you realistically thought could happen at the time? With all due respect,
When we seen the draw, realistically probably not. When you the caliber of Quarabag, but going on that game, and obviously we gave away the penalty. I gave away the penalty in the 90 something minute. The guy blocked me off, and I took the guy down, thinking he was going to get a shot. But going out there, and then I remember we should have had a pen out there as well. The ref actually, Casey threw the ball in, and the ref hadn't blew the whistle the play to continue. And I remember the guy threw staff to the floor, but the ref booked the guy for that. But because the ball wasn't in play, he didn't give the pen. And if we had got that decision, we actually probably would have qualified. But our performance out there that night was unbelievable. So disciplined, and like to go out there and have a disciplined performance like that was unbelievable. And to run them so close and go out and away goals was a tough one to take, but it was something that obviously we could have been proud of. But as again, it's disappointing that we were within touching distance of making the Europa League group stages as a part-time team.
so it's your testimonial season. Tell us a little bit of what you're hoping to bring or to have going in your testimonial year.
Yeah, no, obviously the committee, we hope they have a lot of events throughout the year, and firstly, obviously going to aim towards the gala dinner, which is hopefully going to be mid-October, and then obviously throughout the year we're going to organise a lot more events, and hopefully, obviously, a few in Belfast and a few closer to home. And it's something to look forward to, and something us as a committee will hopefully put on and organise a few enjoyable and worthwhile events for our fans and people surrounded and connected with the club.
You've had the pleasure to play with some fantastic players over the years. Without getting you into trouble, do you have a favourite?
Favourite player? Good question. I've probably got three. I would say I can't really distinguish between the three.
Well, you can go 3-2-1 if you like.
Yeah. Oh, you're asking. That's even harder. I'll just go three even. Probably Jimmy Gallagher, Mo Mate, centre half. Shared basically nearly every game playing beside him. Solid as a rock, someone that I'd have in the trench with me, and was a fantastic servant to this football club as well, and someone that I still speak to regularly, nearly every week, and someone that I will continue to do in life. Not just he was a great player beside me, and I see him as a great friend as well, and what a centre half, and someone, as I say, taking the trench with me, and someone who never ever let you down. Then obviously club captain Jamie. Mulgrew, since the day I walked in the door, he's been here. He's made me feel welcome, and someone again who through I've been here now 10 years. I've grew very friendly with and close with, and someone who I always bounce off, and he's been very good to me, advice, and you look at what he's done at this football club, and I don't know, is it 17 or 18 years? Jamie's been here now in total to play the amount of games that he's played, and he's still going at 37. I think, don't quote me, as Jamie, I think he's 37, but. Yeah, just what he's achieved at the football club. How can you not look up to a man like that and have him in your top three? And he's again someone that I would speak to quite regularly outside of football, and I see him as a friend as well. And then probably Andy Walworth as well, my old mate. Some good times we shared and on and off the pitch. Another man had taken the trench with me, an all-round gentleman in life, and someone who I definitely looked to, and talked about life with not just football. And if you're ever struggling outside of football, he was the first man to put your arm around you. And going through some tough times, obviously my father passing away and that, and there was one man that always looked about you, and so did the rest of the team. But I was very close with Andy, and someone who is a top man and an absolute gentleman outside of football. And what a player he was for this football club as well. And scored some massive goals.
You say, and you mentioned Andy there, when it was his last game at Solitude a couple of years ago, you seemed to embrace, and you seemed to. Is that how much you held the man?
Yeah, no, definitely. I was lucky enough to set up his last goal at Solitude that year, crossed it, and he finished it. Andy, typical style, didn't even think, bang goal. As I said, just an all-round gentleman, and so obviously knew Andy was leaving, and I think the night of the do at the end of the year when we won the league, and we knew they were all going, the three boys, Hawks, staff, and Big Andy. I think me and Clarke were a wee bit emotional at the table. I think we got a bit of stick for that, but that's just the way it is. You share a dressing room with these lads for 6, 7, 8 years, and you see them every day. You probably see them more in your family and your girlfriends and wives and stuff. But as I say, all three of them lads especially that left at that time, it was an emotional time, because like me, Kirk, Coney, we'd all been the same group, and Jamie Mulgrew obviously as well, and we'd shared the dressing room every day together, and they were all, that time was just all top men who I can't fault any of them. You'd want them all in the trenchery, and I think as we've seen that day at Solitude, it was a bit emotional, and the night to follow after that was a bit emotional as well. And just all round gentleman and top man, and all three of them, as I said, that left that time were top professionals and top all round guys.
Last few games, you've captained the club. Looking back from when you first signed, was it an ambition of yours or something that you seen yourself doing going forward in your career?
Yeah, when I signed at 19, I probably never dreamt of captaining the club, and the way I probably struggled the first season. I didn't really bet that I'd be there for 10 years, but no, it's the captain of this football club, and at home in Europe and the league games, hopefully going in, who knows. It's a great honour, and it's a massive honour for me and for my family, and for the rest of the local people at home. They see me obviously representing our area and at the biggest club in the land, and the captain of this club is a privilege and a great honour. I'm thankful to the manager and staff for putting the faith in me to captain the team, obviously when Jimmy didn't play. But yeah, it's a great privilege and a massive honour to captain this great club.
And finally, Matthew, with the new season just around the corner, what's your thoughts for this season ahead?
No, looking forward now.
For yourself and the club.
Looking forward to the bread and butter starting. Pre-season, any player will tell you he's long, because obviously it's the hard work. But yeah, we've obviously been fortunate enough to have European games and great games building into the season. But yeah, you look forward now as a player, your bread and butter starting, your league campaign gets on their way. Obviously, we're going to start now a week later than everyone else. But yeah, I can't wait. The lads can't wait now for the league to start. And obviously, we'll have one ambition this year is the challenge in all fronts, and hopefully we'll see where it takes us. And we want to be in the mix and definitely challenging to bring the Gibson Cup back to Windsor.
Well, I wish you nothing but the best for this season and for your testimonial year. And thanks very much for taking some time out this evening.
Cheers, Bugs. Thank you, sir.